Hello, and welcome back to France Made Simple, the podcast where I demystify life in France. Now, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. We did, although I'm not going to discuss the carrot grater. I might in a separate episode, but for now, I'll just say it was lovely. And it was lovely to have a break from social media and podcasting. But during that time, I did read something on somebody else's post and it stuck with me. And it was about speaking French, but it applies to pretty much everything in life. And I think it's super relevant to any of you who are planning to move to France, as well as those of us who are already here, or just about anybody really, wherever you're living and whatever you're doing. And basically, the gist of it was don't put your life on pause waiting to be perfect. Live your life now. And live your life with the level of your French, the level of the French that you have now. So integration starts now, not when you finally master the subjunctive. And this is the thought for the day because it really struck me during the Christmas period. For those of you that listened to my Christmas quiz, yes, it was very tongue in cheek, but the whole subject of integration comes to the fore at times like Christmas. And Christmas for people with no close family around, close friends around, or who haven't yet found their social networks in France, it can be tough, very, very tough, in fact. And last Christmas was hard for me. For the first time ever, I wasn't with all of my three children. I wasn't in the family home. I didn't have my decorations up, which include the stuff the kids made at primary school. I think we've all got some of that somewhere in the loft. And it was French style Christmas. Even the present opening traditions were different. You know, it was fine, but it was different. It wasn't mine. But I made the best of it and we did have a lovely time. But it didn't feel quite right. This year, things have moved on a lot. I would say I'm now very much part of a large blended family, and creating that has been a lot of trial and error along the way. Obviously, you can't overstep the line with adult kids who already have a mum. You have to kind of be there, be present, and not be too much. And again, events like Christmas can be quite charged with emotions and traditions, so one has to tread warily. But things have changed, and we're really lucky that everybody gets on. All of the kids are like one big Brady bunch. And last year, I introduced the idea of Christmas stockings, which the French contingent absolutely loved. So this year, we did what we termed a participative stocking, which my daughter coined that expression, and the kids all ran with it and thought it was absolutely brilliant fun. Everybody was buying bits and bobs for everybody else, although I think I did the bulk of the stockings, and certainly the bulk of the stuffing. I can tell you, stuffing 9 stockings on Christmas Eve is something else. But it was great because it was a real mixture of the old and the new. And this isn't something that's just important for blended families. I think it's all about how feeling truly integrated into France really works. So, okay, Christmas is a bit more obvious. You know, the fact that there's something like there's no mince pies, it can reduce you to tears. And I did find myself going to Gronville on the 23rd of December to meet a friend for lunch who had a box of crackers because Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without crackers. But I think this sentiment of integration is just as true all year round. So, how do you achieve this? I think you have to blend the old and the new and accept that you can't have your old life back. And this is just as true after a separation too. There are times when you do want your old life back, even though maybe it wasn't perfect or the right thing for you. And even though most of the time you love your new life, your new relationship, your new family, your new move to France and what it offers you. But just like when you experience a divorce or creating a new blended family, I think you have to look to the future, decide what's truly important to you and what you can let slide, and stay positive and go for it. Change is key in life. It's really important. It's what keeps us young, and this is why people who learn a second language have better brain function in later life, apparently. But there are times when you get frustrated and angry. And another little gem I came across years ago, which I've always loved and remember and do tell myself, anger is just a unit of energy for change. So if you can channel it and make your anger become useful and productive, you can change in a healthy, constructive way. So when it comes to living in France, I think the lesson here is if you miss something about your old life to the extent that it's frustrating you, do something about it. Make those friends. Start a book club if that's what you did previously and there isn't one around. Take up that hobby that you never had time for. Phone your friends back home if you miss them. And don't think that integrating comes out of only doing French things, eating only French food, only socializing with French people. Sometimes one just needs a slice of toast and Marmite, and sometimes one needs to offload with English speakers because you have all of the same kind of cultural references and backgrounds, and that kind of grounds you. But I think if you are doing what makes you happy and confident, you'll be halfway there to making a go of your new life in France. And yes, there's going to be times when you're tearing your hair and sobbing over the lack of mobile phone reception and wanting to murder the woman in the local post office who turns the sign round on the door to closed with an expression of complete glee on her face, just as your hand goes towards the door handle, because it is 1 minute to 12. But you just have to roll with it. Get cross, complain, that's very French after all, and then shrug your shoulders with a and move on. Life in France isn't a bed of roses. In fact, it's not even a bed of coffee and croissant. But let's make our resolution for 2026 to collectively support each other and commit to making 2026 our best year ever. So my message to you today is basically get out there and start living with whatever you have at your disposal. All right. So I hope that was sufficiently, what's the word? Not empowering, invigorating. God, I really do need some more coffee this morning. Anyway, I just wanted to leave that with you as a thought for what you can do to try and make 2026 your best year ever, whether you're already in France or thinking about moving to France. And if you are thinking about moving to France, then I highly, highly, highly recommend that you pop along to the French Property Exhibition, which is being held in London at the end of January. Years and years and years ago, I think it was 2010, I gave one of the seminars there about property renovation, one of my favourite subjects. And it was the weekend when there was a massive snowfall in central London. London looked absolutely beautiful, actually, under sort of a half a foot of snow. But it did bugger up all the transport systems, and loads of people didn't make it there. And loads of exhibitors had huge issues with stuff being stuck in transit. And I do remember it always makes me smile. There was one guy who had created an Italianate garden as part of his display stand, and his olive trees were stuck on the motorway in a snowdrift in Kent, which I thought was just brilliantly ironic. Olive trees stuck in a snowdrift. Almost biblical, that one, but it did make me laugh. But anyway, the point of the story is it was an absolutely great event. So much going on, so much to see and do, and it's the kind of place you can go to and meet legal advisors, financial advisors, estate agents, arrange to view properties, get a really good idea of what's out there on the market. And it's a kind of one-stop shop. It's well worth a visit. The tickets are free. I will put a link in the show notes so you can apply directly. So do put that in your diary if you think you can make it there. And our very own Sheila Gorman, who comes on the podcast on quite a regular basis to share her extensive knowledge about all things French property related, will be there with her agency, Agents Newton. So they cover a massive area of France now. Sheila's based in the north of France, just down the road from me. She really knows her onions. She's also a lovely lady. So So do pop along and say hello to Sheila. And if you've heard her on the podcast, do tell her how much you enjoy our podcasts. Even if you don't, it will make us happy. Thank you very much for listening. Only a short one. I'm easing myself back into work this week, but there'll be another podcast out later in the week with a bit more depth, length, profoundness, whatever else. I'll have hopefully topped up my caffeine levels by then, and we'll be able to think straight. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you as always to our sponsors, Fab French Insurance, who will also be at the French Property Exhibition. So do pop along and say hi to them as well. It's really fab of Fab French Insurers who got this podcast off the ground and kicked me up the bum to get it going. So thank you very much to them. If you are moving to France and need any kind of insurance, again, highly recommend them. They are an absolutely tip-top firm who provide great customer service. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you all have a great start to 2026, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.